Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to be here and present on behalf of the California Community College's Chancellor's Office. Part of the vision our office drives centers around our commitment to student success and providing excellent quality programs and student support services. Our presentation today aims to highlight just one of the many resources our robust system has to offer while you pursue your academic or technical career in search of transfer and/or career goals. Now more than ever, access to CalFresh benefits and resources for food to keep our bodies healthy and full are critical to support your student journey. Next slide, please. Oh, back one, please. I'm so happy to be here this afternoon and join you all as you make your way through the scheduled events of the Student Senate's 2021 General Assembly. Thank you for having us. I really think this year's theme, Growth Through Resiliency, is special and most importantly, really highlights what it means to be a student pursuing a higher education degree in our California community college system through the COVID-19 pandemic. Free food and access to resources like CalFresh help students while they are enrolled in college and help keep them on their path towards graduation. During times like these, our students have proven to be fierce when faced with adversity and through it all been resilient. Next slide, please. For today's agenda and the quick rundown of the time while you're with us during this afternoon will include a history of the work and current efforts, a brief background on reports and data on student food insecurity. Then Colleen will take us through all you need to know and give us an overview of CalFresh, and she will also be going over CalFresh student eligibility requirements. Finally, Carly will give us an overview of the CalFresh Outreach Student Ambassadors Program, and our student speakers will share their student perspective with the program. If time permits, we'll end our time together with a Jamboard activity. We also hope to engage you all with poll questions throughout the presentation, so please pay close attention to the information being offered. Next slide, please. My name is Talia Marroquin, and I have a master's in public administration from McGeorge School of Law and a background of working with high school students and student support services. And I grew up in the Central Valley in Central Valley in Merced, California. I'm currently living in Sacramento, and I'm a program analyst at the Chancellor's Office under the Educational Services and Support Division. My main program areas include working on foster youth programs such as Next Step and needs programs like the California Community College's Homeless and Housing Insecurity Pilot Program, or HIP, and Hunger Free Campus, which include food pantry support and CalFresh outreach assistance. Specifically, I help provide statewide support, leadership, and technical assistance to the colleges and to our students in the system. I'd like to take a pause right here and let my fellow panelists introduce themselves. First, we have Colleen Ganley.
Hi, everybody. My name is Colleen Ganley. I'm with the Community College Chancellor's Office, and all those programs that Thalia just mentioned are also programs that I work on, providing support to the 115 brick and mortar community colleges to get food pantries running, have food distribution on campus, and to do CalFresh outreach services. We're really excited to be here today. Thank you for sharing your space.
Thank you, Colleen. We're very lucky to have you here today with us too. On today's panel, we also have Carly Smith. Carly, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on your Friday afternoon. I'm excited to be here. I work with the Foundation for California Community Colleges, and I work with a great team who in our equity department, and we have a variety of programs to better support students and meet those equity gaps. And some of those programs that I specifically work on is CalFresh Outreach, our health and wellness program, and our student ambassador peer-to-peer engagement programs. So I'm excited to share with you about those programs coming up.
Thank you, Carly. We're also lucky to have you here today. We also have Brooke Ford joining us and helping us monitor chat and the PowerPoint presentation. Thanks, Brooke. Next slide, please. We also have today with us 3 student presenters who will be sharing a little bit about their time with the CalFresh Student Ambassadors Outreach Program and their student perspective from 3 colleges, including Cerritos College, Merced Community College, and Cosumnes River College. Thank you so much for being here with us. They will go on a little bit later and introduce themselves. Next slide, please. Okay, let's get right into it. Our work around basic needs and food security is not new. We've actually been talking about student basic needs for quite some time now. Part of our most important work pertains to understanding how students' basic needs through equity lens is being framed and talked about so that students are not bearing the cost of going to college and are instead being supported through their higher education journey. As you can see, in fall of 2017, the Chancellor's Office began conducting work around student basic needs and conducted the Food, Housing, and Basic Needs Resources Survey. The survey requested information about resources currently available to students to support students in California community colleges with basic needs and security. The survey received positive results with 214 responses, representing about 91% of California community colleges at the time of administration of the survey. Next slide, please. With information from the 2017 survey, the Chancellor's Office continued to work on and produce the basic needs survey report in 2018. This is important because this report gave us the necessary tools and data our office needed to build a case for student basic needs. Equally as important, this provided a baseline for data regarding available resources, best practices, and featured best practice models as an example for other colleges in California. This report also allowed for the creation of a comprehensive directory, including main points of contacts for basic needs coordinators throughout the state. One of the reasons this is so critical to the work that we do to support students is because tools like this help us connect college campus student services programs and staff with direct and updated information and resources as they become available to support students through food pantry services, access to clothing classes, and CalFresh outreach assistance for free food. Next slide, please. During this time, the Chancellor's Office provided support to the Hope Center to administer the 2018 #Real College survey across the California Community Colleges system. In this survey, 57 community colleges participated and 40,000 students responded. Next slide, please. From the 2018 #Real College survey, the Hope Center produced the 2019 #Real College report. Of the 40,000 student responses, we were able to obtain the following information. 50% of respondents were food insecure in the prior 30 days. 60% of respondents were housing insecure in the prior 12 months. 19% of respondents were homeless in the previous 12 months. Next slide, please. Additionally, the report highlighted some other demographic information pertaining to Pell Grant recipients, students with physical or mental disabilities, and students from foster care, and students who experience homelessness who were food insecure. So you can see in the slide presented the high percentages in students who reported being insecure. This report captured data pertaining to some of our most vulnerable and disproportionately impacted student populations. Next slide, please. With data and reports like the ones conducted over the last few years, this has allowed our system and system partners to advocate to the state legislature to include funds and one-time funding based on prior fiscal years in the state budget to include funding to support the California Community Colleges Hunger-Free Campus activities, including CalFresh enrollment support services, and to establish and expand campus food pantry services. We note on the slides funding per fiscal year through in 2017 through 2018, 2018 through 2019, and 2019 through 2020. Unfortunately, and due to the pandemic, the Hunger Free Campus initiative received no continued funding in 2021. I think it's important to note here that this does not mean that this is not an important issue we know our students face. Funding to support basic needs and mental health services, as well as CalFresh outreach assistance, was included in the 2021 state budget, and there are other current legislative bills making their way through the legislative process in support of students' basic needs. Next slide, please. Here we list some other campus activities based on the Hunger Free Campus initiative, such as creating basic needs resource centers, mobile food vans, hot meal vouchers, meal donation give back programs, financial literacy programs, farmers market donation programs, and community garden programs. Next slide, please. We wanted to make sure we also presented current data. Please keep in mind this is pre-COVID-19 data. As we look towards basic needs work in the future, we will continue to work with more current data. As of 2019-2020, prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, 114 community colleges reported having a food pantry or regular food distribution. 1,525 California Community College faculty and staff provided support to students enrolling in CalFresh. 15,000 students were supported with CalFresh enrollment services, and 50 California community colleges report having basic needs centers. Next slide, please. Finally, other food security activities that the Chancellor's Office is working on include being a part of the California Higher Education Basic Needs Alliance, otherwise known as CHEBNA, which is an intersegmental basic needs partnership with our partners in the UC and CSU systems. We've also distributed CalFresh outreach toolkits to all 115 at the time of California community colleges and have conducted and released outreach videos to raise awareness of these resources to students. I'm going to hand it off to Colleen now, who will be taking us through the next portion of the presentation. But before I do, I wanted to thank you for your time. It's a privilege to be here this afternoon with you. And actually, before Colleen takes us through an overview, we're going to test your knowledge with a poll question. Next slide, please. So I'm going to launch the poll. It should pop up on your screen. If you could go ahead and select one of the options. You're given about 5 options. And this is actually giving us real-time results. And it says, how much do you know about CalFresh? Option 1, I can fill out the application and know where to go to obtain information about CalFresh. I know enough about CalFresh, but need help filling out the application as a student. Somewhat knowledge and understanding about CalFresh. Basic knowledge and understanding about CalFresh, and no knowledge whatsoever about CalFresh. We have about 82% of folks who are on the line. I think I'm going to give it a couple more seconds. Okay, great. It looks like about 33% said that they can fill out the application and know where to go and obtain information. So that's actually really good to hear. But we're somewhat split between somewhat knowledge and basic knowledge. Okay, I'm gonna end the polling here. Can you guys see or? Okay, next slide, please. And I think this is where Colleen takes over. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. I'm just waiting for my slide to come up. Hold on, I'm gonna put down the poll. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you guys again for having us. We're super excited to talk to you guys about CalFresh. I am about to throw a whole bunch of information at you. And I'm glad that some of you have familiarity with CalFresh. I'm going to walk through sort of the eligibility, walk through the application process. Please put your questions in the chat, and we're going to answer as many as we can during this event. And anything that we can't answer today, we promise to follow up. So you'll get responses to any questions that you might have. We're also interested in you putting in the chat box information about your experience if you've attempted to apply, and whether it's good experience, a tough experience, whether you were able to get benefits or not. If you would like to share that information, it's not a requirement. The one takeaway I hope that you guys leave this event with is you're probably eligible for CalFresh, and we really want you to apply. And at the end of my part of the presentation, we're going to show you a link where students can apply. Super student-friendly place to submit your CalFresh application. So first, we'll start off by talking about food insecurity. When we talk about food insecurity, we're really talking about a broad spectrum of circumstances, which range from sometimes skipping meals on one end of the spectrum to individuals who are chronically experiencing hunger. The federal government defines food insecurity as the limited or uncertain availability of nutritionally adequate and safe food, or limited or uncertain ability to acquire acceptable food in socially acceptable ways. So any type of food insecurity, and I'm singing to the choir for any of you who have experienced food insecurity or who are currently experiencing food insecurity, it can cause stress, anxiety, depression, and it can physically impede you, stop you from doing what you're doing on a daily basis. For you guys, that means going to school, probably going to work, and taking care of your families. Unfortunately, we know that across California, there's many students who are experiencing food insecurity. However, there are food resources that folks can access, and one of these resources is called CalFresh. Next slide, please. So this is a little bit of a 101. So for those of you who are already familiar, please forgive me. CalFresh is a food benefit which is funded by the federal government that allows individuals, including students, to purchase food. Federally, the program is referred to as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP for short. In California, we call our SNAP program CalFresh. CalFresh, or SNAP, is known as an entitlement program. And you might be wondering, what does that mean to me and why should I care? But it's a really important feature. When a benefit program is an entitlement program, that means that by law, every single person in the country or the state who meets eligibility criteria can receive the benefit. Many public benefit programs have caps on the number of people who can receive the benefit because there's not enough funding to give everyone the benefit. That's not the case with CalFresh. As many people who meet the eligibility criteria, that's how many people can get CalFresh. So for those of you who are thinking, and I have heard this from many, I shouldn't apply for CalFresh benefits because there's other people that need them more than I do. You don't have to worry. You won't be taking benefits from anyone else who applies. There are efforts across the state focusing on increasing the number of students who apply. We have a wide variety of partners that are really focusing on getting students on CalFresh benefits. And that includes our partners with the Department of Social Services, the California Student Aid Commission, our office. There's a lot of folks right now committed to supporting students to access these benefits. Next slide, please. So, eligibility. The way the state figures out who's eligible for CalFresh is based on how many people live in your household and the income of the household. For CalFresh purposes, a household is defined as an individual or a group of individuals who purchase and prepare food together. So you could be defined as a household of one person, regardless of whether you live with roommates or with your or other family members. If you're responsible for purchasing your groceries and preparing your own meals, then for CalFresh purposes, for the application, you would define yourself as a household of one, and you would only report your income. And it can be a little bit tricky if you are in a situation where you have many roommates and maybe you share a jar of mayonnaise or you share a jug of milk. But at the end of the day, if you are the main person who's responsible for buying your groceries, then you would want to count yourself as a household of one. Right now, if your gross income is less than $2,082 per month, you should apply for CalFresh benefits. Once you submit an application, and we'll provide a link of where you can apply. Within about a week, you're going to be contacted by the county CalFresh office to provide specific documents to verify that you are who you say you are. Typically, these documents include an identification card or a driver's license, possibly a pay stub if you're employed. What they're going to request is going to vary from county to county. But it's very important that you submit the required documentation. So you file your application, the county calls you, they request particular documents, you send those documents to them, and they start to process your application. If you don't follow up with the required documentation, they won't be able to process your application. Traditionally, pre-COVID, they would also request a brief telephone interview to ask any clarifying questions. Right now, as a result of the pandemic, they're not requiring these interviews. So you just need to submit your application and the required documents. You can send the documents via email, fax, regular mail, or in some cases, you can submit them in person. Next, they're going to process your application. And if you're eligible, they'll determine how much you're eligible to receive. If you're approved, then you'll receive what's called an electronic benefit transfer card, or an EBT card. This card will look exactly like a debit card, and you can use it in grocery stores, convenience stores. Most farmers markets, take EBT cards. So anywhere you would buy groceries, you can use your EBT card, with a few exceptions. Next slide, please. So it is important to understand when to apply as a student and when you should apply as a non-student. And so for CalFresh purposes, you're considered a student if you're taking 6 or more units and you are between the ages of 18 and 49 and you're physically and mentally fit for employment. If you're a student that meets this criteria, then in addition to doing your application, you also have to meet one of the exemptions. And I'm going to show them on the next slide. They're considered student exemptions. Thank you, Brooke. So historically, students between 18 and 49 taking 6 or more units have to meet one of a very few exemptions in order to even be allowed to apply for benefits. And I won't read them all, you can see them, but the majority of students who were trying to apply for CalFresh were using work at least 20 hours per week. And many students had a hard time providing documentation that they were working for 20 hours a week. And unfortunately, most students got turned away and gave up on the process. Next slide, please. However, fast forward, in 2013, Assembly Bill 1930 passed, which required the Department of Social Services to work with the advocates and to work with the 3 higher ed segments to come up with a list of college-based programs that provide an exemption specifically for students so they can apply for CalFresh. This list, and they're listed right here on the slide, this includes participation in state or federal work study, participation in the EOPS program, DSPS, any of the foster youth support programs, including extended foster care, the MESA program. There's also programs locally at individual colleges that may also be on the list. These programs that we're looking at right now are all programs that are approved statewide, but locally there could be additional programs at your campus that give you an exemption. So if you're participating in any of these programs, you get an exemption. This allows you to apply for CalFresh. You still need to do the application and go through the verification process, but this allows you to apply. Next slide, please. In addition to this sort of master list of exempting programs, there's 2 specific COVID-related exemptions, and it's a pretty big deal because these 2 exemptions, while they're temporary through the duration of the COVID pandemic, they really will impact a lot of students. So the first one is eligibility for work study. And this one is a little bit confusing, but just sort of stay with me for a sec. What the previous language said was you're approved for work study and then you anticipate getting a work study job. So what that really meant was only the students who actually got a work study position really were able to use that exemption. However, this temporary exemption says anyone that is eligible for work study. And so what that means is regardless of whether or not you get a work study job, as long as you have unmet financial aid need, you are eligible for the exemption under the work study exemption. And again, this one's a little bit confusing, but it's really important. I think the take-home point is if you have any unmet financial aid need, then you are eligible for this particular work study exemption. You will need to work with your financial aid folks. We have, I don't think that we've provided it, but we will provide it, a work study verification form that you can take to financial aid and ask for them to sign off. Next slide. The next temporary exemption is also going to impact a lot of students, and that is any student who has a zero expected family contribution, otherwise known as zero EFC. The ways that you can document, and again, this is something that you can work with financial aid on, the ways you can document that you have a zero EFC is through a letter that you will receive from the California Student Aid Commission. You can also provide either your student aid report or your financial aid letter if either of these documents include a statement that you have a zero EFC. Next slide, please. During the pandemic, these are just a couple miscellaneous items. Once you've applied and you've received benefits, you don't have to, during the pandemic, you don't have to report a change or loss of employment. As I mentioned earlier, the interview is waived, so you don't have to do the interview portion of the application process. They are accepting telephonic signatures. Once you get your EBT card, you can purchase groceries through online, through Amazon or Walmart. There's another benefit. It's not specific to CalFresh. It's something called Pandemic EBT. And this is a program to replace the K-12 school lunch program. So all the kids, so if you have kids in your family, young kids that are in the K-12 system and they're unable to access what they would normally access for their meals at school, the family is eligible for what is called Pandemic EBT. We can provide additional information on that if folks are interested to learn more about Pandemic EBT. Next slide. And again, I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you, but like the most important thing out of all of this is go to students.getcalfresh.org/s/CCC. I think you can actually just get there by going to students.getcalfresh.org and apply. It's a wonderful website. I went through the website and applied a mock application. It took me about 10-15 minutes. And again, it's just very student friendly and I encourage you to go there. Perfect. Thank you, Carly. Next slide, please. So many of you may or may not know if you're eligible. Many of your peers that you go to classes with may or may not know you're eligible. I already talked about eligibility. We want you to apply. I'm super happy to be able to pass the mic over to Carly and to some incredible students who are doing CalFresh outreach. I think students like to hear from students. So with that, I'm going to pass the baton, the mic over to Carly.
Thank you.
Wait, is there a poll question? Thank you.
I think we do. I think Talia was going to lead us in that.
There
Thank
is, yeah. Next slide, please. So our next poll question is, where can students apply for CalFresh benefits online? And it's actually really easy. There's a hit in the chat. I'm going to launch the poll. Let's see. Hopefully you can see it on your screen, and it says, where can students apply for CalFresh benefits online? Got about 33% of folks who have voted. Give it a couple more seconds, see if anyone else wants to vote. There's a couple of different website options. And so far it's 100%, so good job, everyone.
Great. Are we ready to move forward?
Yes.
Okay. And it's super easy. If you are not a student or you have a family or friends who want to apply who aren't students, it's very easy to remember that it's just getcalfresh.org. So it's nice and simple in that way. So great job, everybody. So, and I apologize, I'm not going to be turning my camera on. I've already been kicked off the call once because of my internet connection. So I'm just trying to make it as smooth as possible here. So I'm Carly Smith. I work with the Foundation for California Community Colleges. And if you're not familiar with the foundation, we are the official nonprofit partner to the Chancellor's Office. We serve all 116 California community colleges, and you can see our mission and our vision on the screen. We can move forward. So one of the programs that I'm here to talk to you about today, or the main program I'm here to talk to you about today, is our Student Ambassador Program model. So we have a few different Student Ambassador programs at the foundation, but the goal of the Student Ambassador Program, which you may be familiar if you've participated in an ambassador program either at your college or with the statewide efforts, is ultimately to empower students to understand knowledge and resources that they can then promote to their peers on their campus, both virtually and in person. And we know that when, as Colleen was saying earlier, when information comes from peers, especially information about topics that there may be stigma attached to those topics, or there may be misinformation out there, it will resonate so much deeper when that information is coming from a peer, coming from someone who is your age or lives in the same neighborhood as you or goes to the classes with you. That's going to resonate in a deeper way than sometimes when it comes from staff or faculty. And so the goal of a Student Ambassador Program is to train student leaders to have those resources in their tool belt that they can then further promote to their peers across their campus. So today we can go to the next slide. So this is the kind of the program model, which I did cover just a bit ago, but essentially we focus on providing resources and training and toolkits that help reduce stigma about different topics. So we have, for example, today our CalFresh Outreach Ambassador Program. We wrapped up last year a Census Outreach Ambassador Program. We have a Wellness Ambassador Program that promotes resources on mental health and well-being. And so those are topics that all come with their different forms of stigma and misinformation. And so we are able to leverage the student ambassadors to help break down that stigma and provide accurate information and help empower their peers to seek out resources to allow for them to succeed in their classroom by meeting their holistic needs. So if you're struggling to, afford your groceries and you're hungry and your basic needs aren't being met, you're not going to succeed in the classroom in the same way. And so if we can train student ambassadors to speak to CalFresh and to allow students to know where to go with presentations similar to what you're participating in today, then our students can help meet that need of theirs and then succeed further in the classroom and their future professional and academic goals. You can go to the next slide. So we started our ambassador program back in 2016 with the Civic Impact Project, doing voter registration, and the ambassador program has evolved a lot since then. Our most recent ambassador programs, the model that we use today, really started in 2018 with the Student Wellness Ambassador Program, which then evolved into now we have our CalFresh Outreach Ambassador Program, which is specific to the Sacramento and the Los Angeles area. And like I just mentioned, we had our Census Outreach Ambassadors, which were promoting the census when that was happening back in 2020. So we can go to the next slide. So some activities, prior to the pandemic and COVID, our ambassador programs were very much focused on in-person outreach. You can see some of our CalFresh ambassadors prior to COVID to the right of the screen there, doing in-person outreach via tabling, presentations, planning fun events on their campus. And then when the pandemic hit, we really had to pivot our traditional ambassador activities to a fully virtual digital outreach. So we can go to the next slide. So that has allowed, at first, it was really stressful. I know we were all going through our own different stressors and challenges, and it's been a hard year for everybody. And the ambassador program had to really analyze how are we going to still have the same impact and reach the same amount of students while everybody's going through this incredible, difficult time and everybody's at home and social distancing. And so there ended up being quite a silver lining with the pivot to digital outreach, because many of our resources that we're promoting live on the internet, like students.getcalfresh.org, for example. So we were able to leverage virtual outreach to help direct students to those resources that now, because of COVID, were more important than ever before, when they were already so important prior. And so student ambassadors are doing social media posts, and they're connected to their public information officers and their on-campus staff so that they can have access to those official social media channels, and also the non-official social media channels that you'll see at different campuses. For example, sometimes the student government will have their own social media, their own Instagram, or an Active Minds Club might have an Instagram on campus. So the ambassadors leverage the different social media outlets on their campus. They also are doing digital presentations to their classrooms, different meetings, similar to a presentation like today. You'll hear from 2 ambassadors in just a few minutes. And then we also, the ambassadors, some are really creative and do different virtual events, a virtual trivia or virtual game night or movie night, where they're building community and also promoting resources. And then finally, of course, Canvas message board, college-wide emails, and listservs, those traditional forms of virtual outreach. And as campuses are starting to open up and it's starting to get safer to do more in-person events, we will be reincorporating the in-person outreach once it's safe in every county, college, state guideline, but also keeping this digital outreach as a pivotal element of the program, and finding a good way to combine the two is our future goal. But right now we're still at the digital outreach, strictly digital outreach, but we're hoping in the next academic year we can start to include more safe in-person outreach as well, as we know that that's a lot of fun for both the ambassadors and the students on campus. We can go to the next slide. So some different elements of the CalFresh Outreach Ambassadors. So you can see this is our very first cohort of CalFresh Outreach Ambassadors back in spring 2020. They all came to Sacramento for a well, actually this group was all from Sacramento, but they came to our offices in downtown Sacramento and spent 2 days with us learning how to do outreach and peer-to-peer outreach specifically. So some different programmatic elements of our CalFresh Outreach Ambassadors is they work with an on-campus advisor. So the foundation staff supports them from kind of the training perspective and the program requirements, but their on-campus advisor is really crucial to the success of the program so that the students have access to the different networks that exist, the different opportunities that exist on a college campus. And so their on-campus advisor helps connect the ambassador to those different opportunities. The ambassadors receive both an in-person training when that's safe and allowable, and then also virtual trainings and ongoing trainings throughout the semester. The ambassadors put together an action plan in partnership with the foundation staff and the on-campus advisor for them to carry out their outreach strategies throughout the semester. They complete monthly reports, so that allows us to track their data so that we can see that these programs are working and students are able to reach a good amount of their peers. And then they have additional forums with their advisor to just wrap up their semester. And then there are different challenges and fun events that we can do throughout the semester as well. Go to the next slide. So a timeline of an ambassador program. So this is a full academic year. We will be opening up our application for our next cohort of CalFresh Basic Needs Ambassadors very soon. I will put my email in the chat, and you can send me an email if you're interested in finding out about when that application will open. It likely will open in late April, early May. And that's when you can apply to be a CalFresh ambassador. Right now, it's limited to the Los Angeles and the Sacramento region, but still feel free to send me an email, even if you're not in those regions, because we are hoping to expand the program as we continue. If we go back one slide. Thank you. So we're hoping to expand the program, and the other ambassador programs are not limited to those regions. Our wellness ambassador program is statewide. We're launching a few more ambassador programs, which are statewide as well. It just happens to be the CalFresh ambassador program is limited to the Sacramento and Los Angeles area. So then in midsummer, students are notified of acceptance. We work with our campus partners. And then the students begin their training in August and then start their activities throughout the rest of the academic year. Now we can go to the next slide. And this is actually the slide. I have some more exciting updates since I put the slide together. So for our overall ambassador efforts, we've actually now received over 2,000 students who have applied for ambassador opportunities, which is great. We've received, I think for the CalFresh Ambassador Program in total, we received about 500 applications from interested students, which has been wonderful. So that's increased significantly since I put the slide together a few months ago. And then for our impact, there's also been some updates to that as well. I just looked at our most recent numbers, and as of February of 2021, our current cohort of CalFresh ambassadors have now passed the 10,000 number mark. So our CalFresh ambassadors have reached over 10,000 of their peers this academic year, so including fall 2020 and the first few months of spring 2021. And so we're really proud of those 25 CalFresh ambassadors who are doing great work promoting this resource on their campus, especially in a digital virtual time when this is needed more than ever. So we can, next slide. And so what do the ambassadors receive? So like I mentioned before, they do have the comprehensive training, both at the beginning of the semester and ongoing training throughout the semesters. This is a paid opportunity. So ambassadors do receive a stipend that varies between programs based on the requirements and the length of position. Currently, CalFresh ambassadors receive just under $1,200 for both the fall and the spring semester, and that's broken up into 2 payments. One payment comes in winter time, and then the next payment comes in the spring. Students also get access to virtual and physical toolkits of resources to distribute on their campus. When in-person events are allowed, students have access to a $500 virtual gift card that they can plan events with on their campus in partnership with their on-campus advisor. So that's not a personal award, that's for event costs to throw events on their campus. And again, that part of the program has been on hold while we're all virtual. So we're hoping to bring that back as one of our program elements, because I know student ambassadors have a lot of fun planning events and using those funds to create really fun, engaging events on their campus. And then the 2 ongoing training and an on-campus advisor plus support from foundation staff, as I mentioned earlier. Go to next slide. So current opportunities, we are actually launching, this might be more relevant for any staff or faculty who may be on the call today, but we're launching an opportunity for colleges to help cover the cost of the ambassador programs. We've received a lot of questions from colleges in the past of how can I get an ambassador, and our ambassador positions have been really limited in the past. And so we're now exploring the opportunity of, well, if a college is able to help cover some of the costs, we can then use the ambassador, place the ambassador program at their campus. But of course, we're still moving forward with our ambassador programs that are fully covered by philanthropic funds. Those are just usually pretty limited. So we will be launching, like I mentioned earlier, an application for the CalFresh Outreach Ambassador Program in late April, early May. That would be covered completely by the philanthropic sources through the foundation. And so we're trying to explore kind of having both avenues of an opportunity where colleges could help cover some of the costs, and then continuing to pursue grants and other philanthropic channels to help cover the cost as well. Because right now our next cohort looks like we will probably have availability for close to about 30 ambassadors, which is not a lot, we know. And so that's why we want to try to continue to explore how we can expand the ambassador program. And then there's also a CalFresh Outreach Digital Toolkit, which is available on the foundation's website. We can go to the next slide. So I will put my email in the chat, and you can send me any questions about how you might find out when the application opens or want more information. But for right now, I'm really excited to introduce, we have actually 2 of our current CalFresh Outreach ambassadors. Megan Fountain is not able to be here today, unfortunately, but I'm very excited to have you all hear from Andrea and Dur, who are both fantastic CalFresh Outreach ambassadors who have taken the time to share with you about their experience today. So we're going to start with Andrea. Andrea, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. First, I wanted to thank everyone. I wanted to thank Talia, Colleen, Carly, and the CalFresh team at California Community Colleges for inviting me to share my outreach endeavors with all of you. What an honor it is to be here today. I'm really excited to share everything with you. So my name is Andrea Dargo. I'm the CalFresh Outreach Ambassador for Cerritos College in Norwalk. So early last year, I had lost my housing right before the pandemic stay-at-home order went into effect. The owners of the home I was renting decided to sell the property and move out of the country. So with very little notice, I had to move my family into a motel. I had to apply for government assistance like homeless vouchers, cash aid, CalFresh benefits. And around the same time, I had received an email from my CalWorks counselor on campus about a paid opportunity doing a CalFresh outreach. So I'm like, okay, I am a CalFresh recipient. I'm familiar with the process and it's a paid opportunity. Of course, I applied. And so a few weeks later, I received an email that I was chosen to be one of the CalFresh ambassadors for my campus. And I was really excited about this. There was an orientation, like Carly had explained, there was an orientation that's really helpful and informative, and we were given all the tools that we needed to raise awareness for CalFresh, and we were assigned a campus advisor to assist us with any other questions that we might have. So when I left the orientation, I felt pretty confident. And I was excited. I was excited to get out there and get going. And then I realized that other than my 4 classes that I had to do virtual presentations with, I didn't really have much of a community to raise awareness in, especially in a virtual environment. So that kind of made me a little nervous. And I reached out to my campus advisor, and she's the director of our basic needs task force, if you will. So I volunteered to take care of the CalFresh side of that. And we had set up virtual office hours where students can come and drop in and ask any questions, get assistance with the application process. But at that point, I still needed to venture out and reach more students because there weren't very many people that would stop by, and I had to find a way to reach more students. So I decided to look into some student clubs. I joined the Honor Society, the Business Club, Active Minds, Associated Students, and I started to attend the interclub council meetings, club conferences, and I was able to reach a whole lot more students through this avenue of going through clubs. I'm not much of a social media person, but I would still get out there and post as much as I could. So needless to say, this opportunity of being an ambassador has really opened up a lot of different avenues for me. I'm really grateful for this opportunity because it's forced me to get creative and it forced me to get involved. I mean, I was kind of not very much involved. I did my studies and that's about it. But this opportunity really forced me to get involved and create a network and a community of students and other entities, like outside entities, that I can get information from for resources. And while I was going through these hardships that I went through early last year, I was amazed to see how many resources are available out there. And as a student, we don't really know where to go without talking to a counselor. We don't know what resources are available to us, and we don't know what to ask for or really who to ask. And, it just so happens in talking about, my current situation, a counselor would forward me to this department where I qualified for some benefits, and then they pointed me to another department. And it was kind of all over the place. So I saw this need for, to have kind of a one-stop shop, right? And where students can come in a student-run program where we can have all of our resources available. I had a lot of students asking me about CalFresh. A lot of students were asking me about awards and how did I get into this ambassador program. And so I kind of teamed up with some of the faculty, our Associated Students faculty and some counselors, and I decided to create a student club. It's called Finding Funds for Falcons. And the focus of the club is to create a community of resources from scholarships, stipends, awards, job opportunities, and government resources, including CalFresh, that where students can come and they can ask. And if I don't have the resources, maybe some of the other students might have it, or our club advisor. And after marketing the club to many of our campus departments, like our care program, foster youth, CalWorks, EOPS, Associated Students, our basic needs, we finally have our first kickoff meeting next week during our resource fair. I'm really excited about that. And I'm really excited to share the opportunities and the resources that are available out there. My family lived in a motel for 4 months before we were able to find housing. I'm a huge advocate for CalFresh. CalFresh was the only benefit that was constant. It was I knew that the benefits were going to be there on a monthly basis. I knew how much I was going to get. I knew when I was going to get it. CalFresh was really the only thing that kept us from going hungry. And for those of you who are not familiar with CalFresh, you heard everyone else speak about the program and the qualifications. But if you're not that familiar with it, please look into it. It only takes a few minutes to pre-qualify. The application process, it's quick, it's easy. In some cases, you can get benefits within 24 hours, depending on your situation. If you qualify for financial aid, chances are you probably qualify for food benefits. And as Colleen had mentioned in what she was saying earlier about benefits and who qualifies, you can live by yourself. You can live in roommate situations. If you have a family, even, if you prepare your meals separately, you probably qualify for benefits. So it doesn't hurt to look into it. It doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to click on the link just to take a few moments and see if you qualify. It's a set amount, like I said, it's a set amount of money that's preloaded onto a debit card each month. And you can use it anywhere that accepts EBT. Grocery stores, convenience stores, the dollar store, even Costco. I love Costco. I use my benefits at Costco. There are some counties that even accept EBT at fast food locations. I think it's just LA County right now. I'm not sure about Sacramento County, but during the pandemic, I know they opened up the locations to where all counties were able to accept EBT at some fast food locations. As students, we have enough to worry about between our studies, work, our bills we have to pay, our personal life, self-care, all in the midst of a pandemic. We really shouldn't have to worry about where our next meal comes from. So I urge you to log onto the website, to click the link and see for yourself and see if you qualify. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was really great information. Next, we have Dur Yang, who I'm very excited for everyone to hear from as well. Dur, are you on the line? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dur. I'm currently at Merced Community College. I'm in CalFresh Student Ambassador at Merced College. And some of the resources that I've done for the colleges, I actually jumped into some of the meetings or some of the meetings that the school had scheduled for. So what I done is I work with my advisor to talk about CalFresh for students. And a lot of students at Merced Community College did not know that this type of resource was available for them. So when I first started, I went onto social media on Facebook. So that's where I mainly get my resources out there for students to know about the CalFresh program. A lot of students did not know about it because they would tell me that they would work part-time, or they are living at home, or their situation is a little bit different. So some of those questions that students would ask me, I would actually personally message them and let them know about CalFresh itself. I'm actually very glad that a lot of students reached out on Facebook, especially. So when I go on there, I checked it very often, and I'm actually very happy because I didn't know that a lot of students out there did not know that they qualify for this program, especially when they're struggling, working part-time or to struggle about when their next meal is coming from. So sometimes whenever I go to the store, I run into college students, I would just have a little casual conversation and talk to them about it and share this type of information out there. Even so, now I think about my own experiences too, because last year my brother did lose his job because his workplace did not want to accommodate him on his school schedule. So now that I'm working as a CalFresh Student Ambassador, I jumped into the opportunity and let him know. I go, I'm a CalFresh Ambassador. Why don't you ask me? And it's a good opportunity because my brother was just working part-time at that time. So when he lost his job, I told him where to go apply, and he actually was very happy because he's living with my dad, and my dad, he's disabled and he's not working. So I always tell him, let's break the barrier and go ahead and tell them about this opportunity. I always tell him, I wish this opportunity was available for me, because when we came here back in 1989, I was a refugee. I was a refugee Hmong person here in America. So I told him that this type of opportunity, a lot of students should take it, because it encourages us to not want to choose whether we're going to go hungry or when, or whether we're going to buy our next book. So I tell him I'm so excited about this type of opportunity that's out there. So I always advocate about it, and I tell a lot of students about it. So one of the work that I would have done is I actually created a few flyers, posted on the website, on Facebook, on the student ASMC, on their so on there we talked about how students could apply for CalFresh and their qualifications. I know a lot of students are a little bit worried about whether their income will affect it. And I always encourage them to apply for it, because you never know the amount that you're going to get. So I always tell them, don't worry about the process. Go ahead and apply for it. If you qualify for something, it's something. So I'm really glad that this opportunity is presented out there. Like I always tell everybody, I wish this was available for me back then 10 years ago, when I barely graduated college, because I was a part-time student, and I would often think about, oh, should I save this amount to buy food, and should I save this amount to buy my books? So I'm really glad, and I always advocated. And now I actually was talking to my advisor about all of the stuff, that hopefully the school can open like a position to advocate about CalFresh and basic needs over at the college, because a lot of students, to my surprise, I've been at the college for so long that I didn't even know where the food pantry was at. So some type of information like this being out there is the best thing for a lot of college students.
Thank you, Dur. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you both to Andrea and Dur for sharing such beautiful remarks about your experience with CalFresh and promoting CalFresh on your campus. I hope that was really impactful for those of you on the call to hear directly from students, specifically our CalFresh ambassadors. I feel really privileged and lucky to work with such fantastic students, especially Andrea and Dur. So thank you. Tali, I think I'm turning it back to you now.
Yes. Thank you, ladies, for sharing with us. I think this is exactly why we want these programs, and we want others to hear directly from students as well. But you can go to the next slide. Presentation, and I think it is that if we have any questions that came up, and then our contact information here. So really, thank you for your time. Colleen, is there something you want to add?
I just wanted to add one last thing to respond to the question about is there someone at the county that will help you? So there is a CalFresh office in every county, and they have folks at the counties that can help you. There are also individuals that are work for or are housed in the food banks that also have expertise around the CalFresh application. So there's a number of different places that you can go to access. Many of the campuses have people that can help you with the CalFresh application. If you try or you get lost, then you can reach out to us and we will go and find someone to help you. If we aren't able to help you ourselves, then we'll go find someone in your county that can help you.
This may have been mentioned earlier, but something we remind our ambassadors to share is once you apply, you will get a call from the county. And so to make sure to answer, I know a lot of us screen our phone calls, especially numbers that we don't know, but if you did recently apply, make sure to be pretty good about answering any calls from unknown numbers over the next few weeks.
Do we have any other questions?
Any questions for our ambassadors as well who are on the line still too? If there's any questions for us, please let us know. Thank you all for being here.